Okay, so guys, today we're gonna presentation about point of view in prose. There are three persons in our team. The first one is Zahrina, Izzatul, Aqmar. The second one is Sandya, Zerlina, and the last one is me, Trevenia, Ilycia. The first presentation will be presentation by Sandya. Sandya.
Okay, thank you, Tracy. So the first one is definition. What is point of view? The point of view or POV in a story is the narrator's position in the description of events and comes from the Latin word punctum visus, which literally means point sight. The point of view is where a writer points the sight of the reader. Point of view is the eye or narrative voice through which you tell a story. When you write a story, you must decide who is telling the story and to whom they are telling it.
Okay, next. Three types of point of view. Next. The first one is first-person point of view. First-person point of view usually use first-person pronouns as the main character. Sometimes, first-person point of view is very relatable to all of us and relatively intuitive to write because that's how we tell stories in everyday life. Next. Two types of first-person point of view. The first one is first-person central. First-person central is the perspective who is told by the main character. This perspective is used by the author to bring the reader closer to the character. However, this perspective takes us to see everything through this character's eyes. The example is, the first thing I did when I got off at train station, I went into this phone booth. And the last one is first-person peripheral. This perspective also uses I or my, but not from the point of a main character. This perspective is from the minor character's eyes, who observes the action of the main character. One of the films or books that use first-person peripheral is Dr. Watson in Sherlock Holmes is first-person peripheral narrator, in addition to being appropriately enough. Next will be presentation by Sandya.
The second is second person. In this point of view, the narrator relates the experience using second person pronouns like you and yours. Thus, you become the protagonist, you carry the plot, and your fate determines the story. In fiction, second person prose is rarely used outside of experimental literature and only done in short works or interactive fiction, because it can be annoying to read. It is not recommended to use this prose unless you have a specific reason for doing so. There are examples of second person. You have friends who actually care about you and speak the language of the inner self. You have avoided them of late. Your soul is as filled as your apartment, and until you can clean it up a little, you don't want to invite anyone inside. By Bright Light, Big City by Gay McConnell. Another example is there are some example in second person. In most choose your own adventure type books, like DIY and self-help books, letters, and other forms of correspondence.
Type of point of view will be presentation by Zahrina.
In the third-person point of view, the narrator is describing what is seen, but as a spectator. If the narrator is a character in the story, then we are reading what he or she observes as the story unfolds. The narrator exists outside of the story and addresses the characters by name, or as he or she or they, and him or her or them. Types of third-person perspectives are defined by whether the narrator has access to the thoughts and feelings of any or all of the characters. The first one is omniscient. An omniscient narrator, like some type of all-knowing God. They see everything. Although the story is told from the perspective of an outside narrator, the author can look into each character's mind and see what they are doing, thinking, or feeling, even if that character don't share it to other characters. Example: while these things were happening at home, Amy was having hard times at On March. She felt her exile deeply, and for the first time in her life, realized how much she was beloved and petted at home. On March never petted anyone. She did not approve of it, but she meant to be kind, for the well-behaved little girl pleased her very much, and On March had a soft place in her old heart for her nephew's children, though she didn't think it proper to confess it, by Louisa May Alcott in her novel Little Woman, 1868. In Louisa May Alcott's famous novel Little Woman, the main character is Jo March. However, the narrator doesn't stay solely with Jo. The reader is privy to Jo's thoughts and feelings, but the reader also hears about the thoughts and feelings of other major characters. In this excerpt, the reader gets the perspective of Amy and even on March through third-person omniscient narration. Next. The second one is limited. In the third-person limited point of view, the narrator still exists outside the events of the story, but does not know the motivation or thoughts of all the characters. The narrator sees only what is in front of him or her. Example: 3 days later, the Dursley were showing no sign of relenting, and Harry couldn't see any way out of his situation. He lay on his bed, watching the sun sinking behind the bars on the window, and wondered miserably what was going to happen to him. By J.K. Rowling in her novel Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets, 1999. Despite the fact that the narrator is not Harry and Harry is referred to as he, the reader is given access to Harry's thoughts, what he is thinking without having to say it out loud. We are also left in the dark about what the other characters are thinking, just like Harry. Next. The third one is objective. The narrator of third-person objective point of view narrates events without knowing the motivation or thoughts of any of the characters. We don't know much about what motivates them until we hear them talk or see what they do. The resulting tone is often matter-of-fact, not colored by any opinions or commentary, nor informed by knowledge of what is taking place outside the scene. Example: the people of the village began to gather in the square between the post office and the bank around 10 o'clock. In some towns, there were so many people that the lottery took 2 days and had to be started on June 25th. But in this village, where there were only about 300 people, the whole lottery took less than 2 hours, so it could begin at 10 o'clock in the morning and still be through in time to allow the villagers to get home for noon dinner. By Shirley Jackson in the novel The Lottery, 1948.
Next. So guys, this is our reference for making the point of view presentation.
That's all. Thank you so much.